In a major shift, the government has deferred the local level government LLG elections to October, a move intended to prevent disruption to the national examinations for grades 8, 10, and 12. In this story, the reasons behind the change, how it was reached, reactions from education and electoral stakeholders, and what it means for candidates and students. Originally, the LLG polling and counting was scheduled from 27 September through 17 October. That window would have overlapped with the national examinations, which are set to run from 6 to 24 October for grades 10, 12, and 8. This overlap generated immediate alarm. Many schools double as polling venues. Many administrators and teachers serve in both exam and election roles, and logistical resources, transport, security, venues, would have to be stretched or shared. The possibility that exams and polling might happen simultaneously in the same facility raised serious concerns about disruptions, invigilation security, crowd control, and student welfare. Given the urgency, two high-level meetings were convened. Attendees included the acting prime minister, ministers for education, police, administrative services, along with the chief secretary, state solicitor, and the electoral commissioner. After careful deliberation, the government decided to retain the exam schedule as originally planned and delay the start of LLG polling. The new polling date has been set for the 25th of October 2025. In announcing the decision, Honorable Richard Masser, Minister for Administrative Services and Minister assisting the Prime Minister on constitutional matters, emphasized that while elections are foundational to democratic governance, the education and future of students must take precedence. Greater than deferring the examinations would create ripple effects on marking, student selections, and admissions to higher institutions. The government has taken a responsible approach to ensure both processes are preserved, he stated. The Electoral Commission will now issue a revised election operations schedule, updating dates for polling, counting, and the return of writs. To understand how we arrived here, a look at PNG's election complexity is useful. PNG has around 6,916 wards across 374 LLGs, and each ward is a separate electoral contest. In many LLGs, the president is chosen indirectly by the ward members. In others, the president is directly elected, meaning different ballots and counting processes are needed. In 2025, the scale is even more challenging. This election cycle must also accommodate 5 national by-elections and polls for the 17-member Motu Koita Assembly. Delays earlier this year had already shifted polling timelines. The Electoral Commission had warned of procurement, logistical, and operational constraints. Another complicating factor is that over 500 new wards and 43 new LLGs were proclaimed by provinces, changes that had to be legally processed and integrated into electoral planning. The creation of new wards and LLGs meant more ballot types, boundary alignments, and voter lists to finalize, contributing to pressure on the electoral machinery. Thus, the overlap with national exams struck at a moment when the electoral system was already under strain. Here are the confirmed examination and polling dates. National examination dates: Grade 10, 6 to 10 October 2025. Grade 12, 13, 17th October 2025. Grade 8, 20, 24th October 2025. Revised LLG. Polling date commences 25th October 2025. Under the revised schedule, polling will begin immediately after the exam period ends, avoiding any overlap. The decision to postpone the LLG elections has been broadly welcomed by education officials and school administrators, many of whom had expressed serious concern about the impossible burden of running exams and voting at once in the same schools. However, not everyone is satisfied. Some candidates and provincial leaders see the delay as unfair. Peter Yama, former Madang governor, has complained that candidates have already spent time and money campaigning, paid nomination fees, and that deferral violates constitutional principles. The Electoral Commissioner, Simon Sinai, earlier warned that the originally planned election timetable would not be tenable, invoking legal powers to delay polling or withdraw writs in LLGs where proper conduct could not be assured. Electoral materials, however, have mostly already been dispatched to provinces. Ballot boxes, polling kits, voting compartments, and many provinces confirm receipt. The logistical groundwork is in motion. The question is now whether the additional time is sufficient to manage the new schedule. The deferral has several important implications. 1. Relief for students and schools. Schools can now run national exams without the disruption or security challenges of concurrent polling. Teachers and invigilators can focus fully on examination roles during the exam window. 2. Greater burden on election administration. The Electoral Commission must now compress the remaining steps, finalizing voter rolls, distributing materials, training staff, ensuring security, and managing counting, into a shorter lead-in. 3. Election fatigue and public perception. Some voters and candidates may grow frustrated by repeated delays. Maintaining public confidence in the fairness and legitimacy of the electoral process will be crucial. 4. Legal and constitutional scrutiny. Because writs had already been issued and nominations closed in some places, some argue the deferral may conflict with election law or constitutional provisions. Legal challenges or political pressure could follow. 5. Precedent for future scheduling conflicts. This case highlights the fragility of synchronizing education and electoral calendars in PNG's complex multi-level governance structure. Future elections may have to account for educational timetables more proactively in planning. As the country waits for the revised polling timetable, all eyes are on the Electoral Commission and the government to ensure the integrity, fairness, and smooth execution of both the exams and elections. The coming weeks will test the capacity of PNG's institutions to deliver in a compressed timeframe. Stay tuned to Pulse of PNG for updates on the revised election schedule, official statements from the Prime Minister and Education Minister, and on-the-ground reporting across the provinces.